Hello and welcome back to Rage Gaming and more Nioh 3. Today I'm just putting out a quick farming guide because there's quite a few things you can farm in this game, and knowing the tools and methods to make it more efficient will certainly help. So that's what we're going to do in this pretty quick video today. First up, the obvious one in any Souls-like game, farming the main currency to level up. In this game it's called Amrita. Why would you do this? Well, you're going to get more health, more stamina, more weight to work with, the main stat of your weapons, unlock new buff slots. There's a lot of reasons to have more levels. But in my opinion, I don't think you actually need to do the usual farm loops for Amrita. Instead, you can just extreme explore. Go to an area and search every nook and cranny. Kill all the enemies, fight all the mini bosses. When you do this, you get a load of different stuff, including drops and other valuables and unlocks, and of course, loads of Amrita. In my experience, doing this has meant that I've remained over-leveled the entire journey. And if you want to over-level and make the game easier, is a great way to do that because you're going to get a lot of unlocks as well. Skill passives or skill points to spend on your samurai or ninja. And yeah, just loads of Amrita so you'll be over-leveled. However, naturally, some people are still going to want smooth and efficient farms with less mental input than actual exploration. So to farm Amrita, you want to increase the amount you're getting through various means, then pick a loop where you can really effectively kill a pile of enemies, reset, and do it again. Here's just a few examples later in Act 1, with no Amrita increasing setups just to give you the baseline. And I'll walk back from the very last area in Act 1 with the highest level enemies just a couple times to show you. So in the warring states during Act 1, the final area brings you here. The final shrine is on the north side here at the rear approach. Heading towards the boss fight, you'll be ambushed by this single warrior. Then you go through this main corridor around a wood wall where we can backstab not one, not two, but three targets if we approach it correctly, allowing you to, even if you're weak, get these kills really fast. This will net you roughly 5,000 Amrita in 30 seconds or less, especially if you're efficient with the backstabs. An area before that, towards the end of Act 1, is actually this funnily recommended level 20 area. I'm not going to even try and pronounce that name, but the final shrine here is the Bellflower Fortress. And it's a great loop because you can sort of just go through a few enemies, and then you end up right above the shrine at the end. And you can get about 11k Amrita in one loop. There's a few stronger enemies which you can walk up and backstab, which I recommend. And then a Cyclops on the way as well as an extra strong enemy. And you can get his soul core if you want. But because it's a super efficient route, you're back to the shrine by the end of it and can run it again super fast. Probably the latest area you can get to without being walled by story is up here at Futamata. This is going to be accessible once you're done with Area 3 and have kind of cleansed the Crucible there. So you could rush up here for the loot as well as the Amrita, and it's not a terrible idea, making your way all the way to the end of the defensive gate. As you go in and turn right, you can kill this horse rider as a strong enemy. Then you turn around and go up the wall to these four men firing along these gaps, which are really easy kills. Then there's a slightly stronger guy patrolling below, who again you can backstab, and this will get you over 6,000 Amrita, probably half a minute or less, which is really quick as a run. But now you've got the idea of some loops, let's now actually increase the amount of Amrita you get per run, which you should definitely be doing if you want to level up in general, having a few of these going. So a simple unlock is actually going to skills. At a shrine you got skill management, and there's vital spirit, which is going to increase your Amrita gains on those kills by 4%. Solid. Another aspect of this is definitely titles. These are passives that you unlock in general, and if you go to subjugation, there's Amrita earned. This is something you can have on permanently, and is worth investing in if you want to level up fast. Equipment can have special effect lines, as you can see listed down here below. All of these can have lines that help Amrita gains by percent amounts, so you can get 2% on just an accessory here. There's quite a lot considering the passives we just looked at. Since you can have these passives across all of your armor and equipment, it can stack up a lot. If you really want to farm it, it's a good idea. Other forms exist though, like gaining Amrita on strong attacks. But if you do get passives that tie into that, like life recovery via Amrita absorption, you can heal yourself with that. And there's also, as you can see, Amrita specific stuff for the Crucible, so when you're farming that out, there are quite a few ways to increase this too, like titles, Crucible Amrita earned, and other special effects tied to that. Of course, another way to get a ton of Amrita is to use your offerings. Like if you come to a shrine under preparation, you can make an offering, pick something you don't care about, which is like most things you're going to pick up, and offer it and just get some Amrita in exchange. There's not a ton per, but obviously it stacks up. The higher level, the more Amrita it's worth. And importantly, the more you use the weapon and raise its familiarity, it actually becomes worth more as well, which is interesting. So I think you're going to find a lot of these spirit stones or lumicite shards, fragments, and other sizes. You pop these and get a load of Amrita, which is obviously awesome. But you do want to be wary about this because your living artifact gauge with the Guardian, this gets filled up when you pop those. So saving them when you're fighting a really tough boss, pulling out the artifact, can be really useful. But if you need a little bit of level, there is a trick to use them. You go to the level up page, and then we can see here at the bottom right, use Spirit Stone. If I press the right stick in, we can see that the amount I need to level up right now is 130,000, and then I can specifically use the amount required to level up, being efficient with them. Or just, all of them that I currently have. So that's a really nice quality of life feature. Next up, let's talk about farming drops, which you can do for a lot of different reasons. Like, yes, we just said offering gear for Amrita. But there's a crucial reason to do this, which is forging weapons, and more importantly, soul matching. Forging weapons is great because it's like near to your level, and then you can get the base special effects for whatever you might need. A lot of people are going to want imbue element. The fact that you can just imbue water into weapon crafting is a great starting point, but you need these materials. To get them, you disassemble equipment, and it'll tell you what you're going to get before you disassemble it. In regards to soul matching, you take something that you have and you raise its level, quite literally increasing its attack, which we want to do as often as possible. But as you can see, it requires soul ores. So you use soul extraction to destroy equipment that you find and get these soul ores in exchange. Therefore, this is probably where a lot of the equipment that you end up finding goes into. And an even rarer resource is to add value to the weapon. This can only be done with the purples, but as you can see, it will also raise the attack by a significant amount, but requires a ton of resources. So you won't be doing this often, not initially anyway. Another reason to farm drops might be set bonuses. We can check the set bonuses of something by holding L2 and pressing left, and we see here the Shinto preset, which is not that amazing, but just an example. You may be wanting to farm drops to get something more specific to your build. And very importantly, when you're in the Crucible, you want to farm drops to get Crucible arts. These are Crucible special weapons that have an art attached to them. You have to have this weapon's familiarity maxed out to unlock the Crucible art, which then can be used on any weapon of that type. So unlocking this tonfa specific Crucible art allows me to use that on any tonfa once I reach max familiarity. So farming drops in a Crucible is extremely important. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there is a simple, very strong trick you can do to farm very good drops. Let's say you're in the third area, you're like level 15, and now you have access to the map at large. Going to the highest level area that you can reach without story walling you and killing enemies there while maximizing your drops will give you higher level drops by a significant amount. This can give you power very quickly. To increase your drop rate and quality, there are quite a few options, starting with your soul cores. You have your yang position and your yin position, and you're going to find that this is tying into the Kappa yokai. By having one of these equipped in the yang position as a summon, we can increase our item drop rate by a pretty reasonable %. While instead in the yin position you have the Luckbringer talismans, consumables that give you a buff for a period of time to further increase your item drop rate by a significant amount. There are also title bonuses for this. If you go to facilities, you can increase your equipment drop rate, as well as collection and raise your luck level, making it more likely you find those rare items. On all of your equipment, every slot really, you can increase this as well. Item drop rate, these are big percents when you stack up a lot of them, as well as straight luck, making it more likely the rare items spawn when those drops occur. There are also consumables that you can run for shorter amounts of time, but for a big boost to your chances, like the Luckbringer amulet. So if you're trying to get drops of the highest quality, you want to kill strong enemies in the highest level area possible. You make sure to modify your drop chances and luck and farm them out. But one of the key locations for this, of course, is the Crucible, where we're also going to get Crucible weapon drops, and you want to increase the odds and amount that you have for that too. Specifically for Crucible drops though, consider your titles again. There's a whole section here called Crucible, like your luck to increase rare chance, but importantly, Crucible weapon drop rate, so if you're after that specifically, you want to max this out. And don't forget under the blessings tab at a shrine you have the Jizo blessings, specifically for the Crucible, to make existing in there easier. As I said though, once you get these drops, you're going to get the Crucible art on that weapon, but you first need to max out the familiarity before it's available. Here's an example with the tonfa Devastation. Because I've already maxed that out on a different Crucible weapon, I don't need to max familiarity to unlock that now. It's just permanently unlocked. So if I go to tonfa, we're going to see it. Devastation here on the right is active and unlocked for all tonfa. I just need to make sure I customize my tonfa to allow for it. As you can see, triangle after a quick attack, that's what I've got equipped right there. To max your familiarity with a weapon, you just need to use it and kill enemies to gain familiarity. but it can also just be equipped. For example, when you start Act 2, you're going to get a second weapon slot where you can just put one on and then it'll just sort of passively get familiarity even though you're not directly using it, which is a great way to do this, by the way. Of course, using titles, you can increase the speed at which you do this. Under collection, we have the familiarity bonus to make it go at a faster rate. Invest in that. And on equipment, you can also find familiarity bonuses to increase the speed at which you actually improve that familiarity. So if it's something you're going to grind, it's definitely worth looking into. And thankfully, there are a couple items that do really help with this. For example, the whetstone that just gives you straight up familiarity gains when you consume them. So obviously, if there's one you really want, this is a great way to just do it really quick. Or if you're about to really work on the familiarity of a weapon, popping this powder beforehand will mean you're getting better familiarity gains faster. If you are looking for general power though, remember there's all kinds of side content to do, whether it's Kodama for the blessings and healing amount, the weasels and scampus, side quests and hidden chests, giving you XP, but also the general ninja and samurai locks to spend points on. Just generally doing the open world stuff is going to give you a ton of that. And as I've been saying, if you fully explore an area before moving on to the next, you'll overlevel and have all kinds of power for the next area to make it a breeze over and over and over. If you want to find absolutely everything in the area though, it's easy because the game reveals it for you using the exploration level system. At the different levels, we get to see the map itself, and when you reach level 4, it literally shows you where all the collectibles and exploration spots are. So I know, for example, I've missed this chest and I've missed this Kodama, so I can just go get it easily. The last thing to mention though is spirit veins, because these become available later in the game. Initially you can't access them and there's a few different kinds. So at the end of Area 3, you unlock the jump ability, the traversal, which you'll use in loads of places from then on. Not much later into Act 1 though, you also get the rock break ability from another guardian, at which point you can do most of these spirit veins. So remember when you unlock that to go back to previous acts and go to the spirit veins you've missed out on. Is this actually worth doing? Yeah, overall it surprised me. I even went back to Act 1 spirit veins and pulled items of my current level from these. So do double back to these whenever you remember to. But yeah, there's my overview of a farming guide, the different things you'll farm, and of course how to increase the efficiency of it. I hope this gives you the tools to do what you might need to do given the context. But until next time, I've been Hollow, you've been Nioh, and thanks for watching.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.